Here's what you need to know if you need to know about Eden Rock by Charles Causley. So let's have a look at an overview to start off with. It's essentially a poem about the poet's parents, and he's remembering what they were like when he was younger. There's a real weird kind of dreamlike quality to it, and there's a sense that the parents are probably in some sort of heaven-like state, and he's thinking about the possibility of joining them in that heaven-like state. So thinking about the possibility of dying, thinking about being with his parents again. Let's have a look at some quotations, shall we? So if we have a look at quotation number 1, my father 25 in the same suit of genuine Irish tweed, his terrier Jack still 2 years old. Right, that's from our first verse up at the top. Now, his father 25, the fact that he mentions his age says it's his father at a very specific point in his life. And he also mentions in the same suit. There's a few times in the poem he mentions the same something of genuine Irish tweed. Genuine Irish tweed is capitalized here, suggesting that it's some sort of memory of seeing it like printed inside his jacket, right? So little Charles Causley is looking at his dad and he remembers this particular thing. Also with the sort of the same suit, the one that he wore all of the time, we've got his terrier Jack still 2 years old. So the terrier got to be a bit older, but at this point he's still 2 years old. So we're remembering a point in the past when this dog was 2 years old, when the dad was 25 years old, right? It's a memory. Okay, we've got in there imagery of his mum, okay, not just his dad. So we've got line 2, her hair the colour of wheat takes on the light. The mum has a kind of lots of natural connotations to her. So her hair is the colour of wheat, right? She seems very natural and lovely, and also her hair takes on the light, suggesting that there's some sort of halo around the mum, right? Her hair is sort of shining. This goes even further with quotation 3, the sky whitens as if lit by 3 suns. Now, the 3 suns gives us some sort of biblical imagery, maybe like the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But also we've got 3 suns as in the parents and Charles Causley, right? But anyway, if the sky's lit by 3 suns, it's exceptionally bright. It feels very heavenly in the imagery that we're using here, right? Quotation number 4 down at the bottom. The parents are on the other side of a stream to him. They're having this picnic, right? And they're on the other side of the stream. And they say, see where the stream path is. Crossing is not as hard as you might think. Now, this crossing imagery here is this imagery of Charles Causley possibly dying and possibly moving to where they are in this sort of heaven state. Okay. And our very last one, the last quotation is, I had not thought it would be like this. Now, if you have a look at the rest of the poem, each of our verses is 4 lines long. This last one is 3 lines with this final line sort of separated off. He is slightly separate from his parents. And thinking about heaven, this seems a little bit weird to him. It's a little bit strange. And all the imagery we've got in the poem is a little bit weird, a little bit vague, right? And he's not entirely sure what's going on. So there's a dreamlike quality to it. Okay. Thinking about context, this poem was written in, it was published in the late 1980s. Charles Causley was born in 1917, so he was in his early 70s when this was published, and both of his parents had died, right? His dad died when he was very young. He was damaged by gas in the First World War, did manage to come home, but died when Charles Causley was very young. And his mum had recently passed away, okay, when he's writing... or more recently passed away when he's writing this poem. So he's starting to think about his parents having died, and starting to also think about the fact that he's got a lot older, and there's a possibility that he's going to join them very soon.